Meet Dr. Roxanne Ramos and Gary Lee. They're both key members of the animal research support staff in the Miller Lab, associated with a prestigious university. They both love what they do, being a part of research that could one day lead to new therapies and medical advancements for the world. Dr. Ramos is the head clinical veterinarian for the university and is responsible for the health and well-being of all of the research animals housed in the vivarium. As a veterinarian with a medical research background, her mind is always focused on the health of the animals and its impact on research. In a field where infectious agents such as viruses and bacteria are known to impact research results, her focus will always be on animal health surveillance and the screening methods used to detect rodent pathogens, how they do it, the processes involved, and how it might be improved to enhance detection. In her 8 years at the lab, she's earned a bit of a reputation as an innovator, always on the lookout for advancements that will positively impact the research conducted in the lab. Gary Lee is the Lab Animal Resources, LAR, or Vivarium Manager, and he sees the bigger picture. As the LAR Manager, he is responsible not only for the staff and animal colonies of the Miller Lab, but for all other research labs at this university. For him, it is about the people, the facility, and the animals. He's been with the university for almost 3 decades and boasts an impressive record managing the most efficient LAR group around. He oversees all husbandry and animal maintenance, as well as sample collection for their animal health surveillance program. His job requires him to steer a massive ship, overseeing operations and how everyone's work plays a part in the ship's course. He's always thinking of the bigger picture. While Dr. Ramos and Gary may not see eye to eye on everything, they can agree on one thing. Traditional sentinel bedding testing is a messy process. It's time-consuming, it's expensive, and the testing results may end up being unreliable or confusing. Gary has employed the traditional method of soiled bedding sentinel testing since his first days at the university. To him, it's a built-in process. But the energy Dr. Ramos and the animal technicians spend prepping, collecting, and submitting samples from sentinel cages for health monitoring is tedious and not always 100% comprehensive. She's always longed for a simpler and more accurate way. They both agree that if there was an easier, more effective method of testing for pathogens, that the time saved would be extremely valuable for the lab. So while at a conference, when a colleague told them about the results they had from using Exhaust Air Dust, EAD PCR testing, they both leaned in. It's the answer to their shared pain points. Pioneered by visionaries at Charles River, it combines the high throughput efficiency of PCR testing with the much simpler process of swabbing the plenum of an IVC rack. Rather than having to deal with the mess of dirty bedding, EAD allows you to test for pathogens that spread through the air supply, thus greatly increasing the chance of detecting a pathogen that you might otherwise miss via the dirty bedding sentinel method alone. The truth is, while the dirty bedding sentinel method has been the standard practice for monitoring the health of research animals for a long time, it comes with serious limitations. There are 3 main reasons. 1. Since its inception, biosecurity in caging has continued to improve, thus making the movement of pathogens from cage to cage more difficult. 2. The process of using sentinels to screen a rack of animals leaves room for error. Not all agents readily transfer when dirty bedding is transferred, which means some resident animals may have been exposed to a pathogen, but never transfer it to a sentinel. 3. There's the reality of operator or sampling error. Neither Roxanne nor Gary would admit this, but they know that technicians may not understand the reason why dirty bedding is needed and opt, instead, to transfer cleaner bedding so that the sentinel animal too can enjoy a clean cage. As for sampling, it's near impossible to determine the ideal dirty bedding sample that should or will contain a pathogen if present. Much of this comes to random luck. The outcome of any of these flaws could mean a derailed study. Starting over means lost time and money. But what if you could remove these 3 problem factors from the health surveillance process? Just imagine the possibilities. How much more could you achieve, free from the time and stress of using an undependable method? Those very questions helped to drive Dr. Ken Henderson to bring today's EAD technology to life. In 2011, while working with a research colleague, they implemented exhaust air dust testing with the hope of improving the detection of fur mites. Finding the method to be particularly useful, Dr. Henderson asked himself, hold on, what if we could put this process to work for detecting other pathogens? That thought, paired with the breakthrough capacity of PCR testing in 2006, enabled the revolutionary development of EAD for wider use. The goal was improving the detection of viruses and pathogens. The result brought more certainty and simplification. Swabbing plenums located at exhaust points takes only a few seconds, but could save you days or weeks a year depending on the size of your vivarium. For a single vivarium implementing EAD, the effects are great, but globally, the impact could be incredible. It's estimated that there are at least 750,000 lab animals used as sentinels worldwide. What if we no longer needed them? Removing the cages of 750,000 animals means a significant reduction in the use of animals, staff, resources, and labor globally. And that's the real power of EAD, doing more with less. Today, many visionary facilities are looking forward and making the full switch to EAD. However, those not ready to take the plunge to a completely sentinel-free program don't have to. Hybrid programs take advantage of both the traditional sentinel and EAD methods by enabling you to continue to utilize both sentinels and exhaust air dust testing on a rotating basis. Gary is intrigued by this option because it might allow a smoother transition for some of his other vets. And because there are multiple ways to collect samples for EAD testing, such as from the plenum that carries air and dust out from all cages, or at the cage level via the cage filter, he will be able to systematically implement this new program across all of the labs at the university, regardless of the fact that each lab uses a different type of IVC rack system. Whether you're swabbing the horizontal exhaust plenum that circulates through all cages, or just the sentinel's cage, you still have a higher likelihood of detecting pathogens, and the benefits for your team are simplicity and enhanced biosecurity. So what's the result of implementing a testing system like this? EAD reduces the number of animals needed. Using a more effective filtering system means avoiding more potential disruptions. It reduces results variability that typically comes with sentinel testing, crucial to ensuring accurate research results, all of which save money and time. Even with all of these benefits, Gary knows a change like this would be a hard sell to some of the other veterinarians at the university, but Dr. Ramos wins him over. And 6 months later, even the most stalwart vets admit they wouldn't go back to sentinel testing. Dr. Ramos has already detected pathogens that were previously missed before. This used to be her biggest fear, but using EAD gives her confidence to confront it head-on. Having a way to confidently detect agents on her exclusion list allows her to do a better job eliminating them. And now that Gary's animal technicians no longer spend hours transferring bedding and shipping sentinel animals, he's able to put that manpower to better use. Research at the university is humming along faster than ever, and Gary can already see the cost savings with fewer sentinels being ordered and less time spent on changing bedding. The Miller lab alone is getting 200 cages back every quarter. That's 800 animal lives a year that are no longer used for screening. From an animal welfare standpoint, that makes everyone at the facility feel good. Security, simplicity, and savings. Wouldn't you like to see how EAD could change the way you do things?